But we're going to move on to our final topic. We're going to be talking about some Washington Redskins, who, I'm sorry, Washington Redskins fans, that you hate me, but I still stand by my draft grade for you guys of a D. So there's that. And we're going to be talking about RG3 and Mike Shanahan, because Mike Shanahan came out with some comments today about a meeting that happened before RG3's second year. And I'm going to set this up a little bit, Mark, before I bring you into it. According to a report from Jason Reed of the Undefeated, RG3 and owner Dan Snyder tried to change the playbook, that they tried to change the team's offense and eliminate several plays from the playbook back in February of 2013. And this was to mold Griffin into a pocket passing quarterback and not a running. Griffin calls a meeting with both the Shanahans. I believe it was both the Shanahans. And he wrote 4 things on the board, kind of bullet points, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 1, change things. Number 2, change our protections. Number 3, unacceptable. And number 4, bottom line. Here's a little quote. I'm not going to say little. Here's a big quote for you from Shanahan. And after I'm done with it, I'm going to let you take it away. Sound like a deal, champ?
I guess I'll take it.
Here's what
I don't think I have a choice here.
Here's what Shanahan said, and I quote, "When Robert is standing there going through all of that, I know it's coming from Dan," meaning Snyder. "When Robert talked about unacceptable, that was a word Dan used all the time. He was using phrases Dan used all the time. There's only one way a guy who is going into his second year would do something like this. If he sat down with the owner and the owner believed that this is the way he should be used. He had to have full support from the owner and, in my opinion, the general manager to even have a conversation like that. He just had the best year for a rookie quarterback in the history of the game. You got selected to the Pro Bowl. We went to the playoffs. We tried to get him to slide. We tried to get him to throw the ball away. If he had told me he was hurt, I would have taken him out of the playoff game. To hear him, it was really incredible." End quote.
So, to be clear, the coaching staff wanted him to be more of a pocket passer. And RG3 and Snyder wanted him to continue being mobile quarterback. That is correct?
From what everyone said, it was Dan Snyder and RG3. From what this report says, RG3 and Dan Snyder wanted him to be, they're trying to flip it. Mm-hmm. They're trying to say, well, Dan Snyder and RG3 wanted me to be a pocket passer, when Shanahan said, he came into this meeting, and this is what RG3 said. He wanted to change to a pocket passer.
So, yeah, the coaching staff wanted to keep him as the mobile quarterback.
Yeah, but they still wanted to get him to slide and throw it away because that was his tools. Mm-hmm. He was a mobile guy. He could use his legs.
That's the reason why he had that great season, for sure. It's interesting. I mean, part of me doesn't like this kind of slighted coach who's been kicked out, kind of disgraced a little bit. And RG3 definitely been disgraced quite a bit, losing his job, getting kicked out of Washington, the franchise that gave up so much to get him, and now he's in Cleveland. Part of me doesn't like that we're dragging all this stuff back up, and now we're going to talk about it.
Well, this all came out because that excerpt that I read was from Jason Reed's book, The Undefeated.
Yeah.
So that's where all this is coming from.
But there was a tweet that posted a picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so part of me doesn't like the fact that this is all coming back up right now. It's like, if we're not going to talk about it when it just happened, what's the point of talking about it at all? But at the same time, it's very interesting. It just shows how dysfunctional that team was.
They went to the playoffs.
They did, but the year before they went to the playoffs. They didn't go to the playoffs the year that we're talking about right now. But it just kind of shows that team was dysfunctional. It wasn't working. It wasn't ever going to work after that first season, after the RG3 injury. And really, I think everybody in this situation is better off. Mm-hmm. That situation just needed to end. Unfortunately, Snyder is still there in Washington. I have made the comparison before, and I'm going to make it again, that right now the Washington Redskins remind me of the Kansas City Chiefs. Flash in the pan season, then they're going to fall off and be a little less relevant. Maybe they'll bounce back like the Kansas City Chiefs have done. But I definitely expect less out of Kansas City and out of Kirk Cousins. I'm not a believer in him. He can ask me if I like that as much as he wants, but the answer still remains no, I don't. I don't like that because I don't believe in you.
You like that, Mark? You like that?
I don't. And I think, unfortunately for Kirk Cousins, we're going to be making fun of him a lot with that saying if he goes back to the Kirk Cousins of old, not the one who just showed up out of nowhere and finally looked decent after having time after time after time of ability to take that job from RG3. He finally did it. Yeah, I don't expect that much out of him. I really don't.
Well, and the first thing I want to do is the undefeated. I said it was a book. It's a website. It's Jason Reed's article on theundefeated.com where this came from. But I heard of this story today on Colin Cowherd, and you said something when you were talking about, you said, I don't like how this disgruntled coach now came back out with this. And it kind of sparked into my head. I snapped back to what I heard on the Herd today, and I totally agree with them. Right now, Shanahan is that boss that RG3 went over his head. I want to tell you guys this. Young kids listening out there, when you get a job, don't go over your boss's head.
There's very, very, very few times where that will work in your favor.
You want to know why you don't? Because people don't like, when the boss is the boss doesn't like when you go over his head because you're basically questioning his authority. And I have no stories of telling you when going over the boss's head worked because I've never gone over a boss's head. However, when I was listening to the Herd today, it was hilarious how he told it because he could say this now that he's with Fox Sports 1, but he was kind of like, Colin Cowherd was like, yeah, I went over my boss's head. He's like, I only had to do it once. And it was late in my career. I was leaving the company anyways, but my boss was a dimwit, and I had to go over his head, and it ended up working out for me. But he's like, it didn't matter because I was leaving the company anyways, and now that guy's been replaced by 2 people already. And then, like, I'm sitting there and I'm going, is he talking about who I think he is? And then you want to know how he ends it?
How's that?
Yeah, I left this job recently. Boom, he's talking about ESPN.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't work out. Like I said, it really spells out the issues that Washington had. But at the same time, I don't know if it really does not paint RG3 in a good color.
This has got to look bad for RG3 coming into the season, especially after that press conference he had with the Browns. I liked him after that. I wanted to get the shirt that said "No pressure, no diamonds."
I just kind of the thing I felt about that, because I watched that press conference too, but I couldn't help but sit there and think, RG3's not going to be like you're acting like RG3's a franchise guy. He's not. We know he's not going to be a franchise guy. Of course, they didn't draft a quarterback, number 2 overall like we thought they would. But it was just like, no, he's not going to be your franchise guy, so why are we doing this press conference? I don't know. I really don't. This whole situation, this whole story really kind of spells to the immaturity of RG3 that a lot of people took issue with.
And you want to know what?
And I don't think it necessarily ends in Cleveland.
You want to know what Shanahan told Reed about that meeting, what he said to Dan Snyder afterwards?
I do want to know.
I said to Dan, do you realize what you're doing to this kid? Boom, right there. Dan Snyder feeding the ego.
Yeah.
Just feeding the ego. Because let's be honest, RG3 had his way in college football.
Oh, yeah.
BMOC, big man on campus. Baylor offense, high flying with the RG3 man at the helm. Gets to the NFL, rookie season, no problem. I'm the man. I'm big man on campus again. Gets injured later on. And this is the thing. I see it as it was one of those things where RG3 should have tried to not befriend, maybe that's not the word. He should have used the Shanahan as his, Kyle or Mike, I'd go with the older one, as his mentor and not Dan Snyder, who was not making the play decisions, who did not have control over the playbook.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of a bad choice in that case, and it definitely didn't work out for him. Because, you know, he went with the GM and thinking that the GM is going to be the guy saving his job. And that was true for a
GM
while.
and owner, because Snyder was the owner.
It definitely goes with the I want my job to be safe, and it worked for a while. But after a while, without the success, because you're not gelling with any of the coaches, that goes away, and the goodwill goes away, and suddenly Kirk Cousins is starting to win some games, and they go, yep, RG3, sorry, you're out here. You're old news. Very quick to turn on you. Very quick to kind of rat you out in this situation. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think we really get anything out of RG3 in Cleveland. I think he'll show some signs maybe of some decentness, but overall, I don't expect that much out of him.
Does Cody Kessler start this season at some point?
Probably. There's a good chance it's because of injury. Because not Kirk Cousins, but RG3 gets injured
Basically
every year.
The same guy, right?
Pretty much. I mean, it took Kirk Cousins forever to actually steal that job from him, and it was served to him on a silver platter.
God, would I
every season.
I would love if Kirk Cousins laid a dud this year.
I don't expect that he won't, because more times than not, he has not been that great. This season was just the one and only so far. And it could be that he's just great all of a sudden.
You know what would be great? And this is because I kind of hate the Redskins now, but what would be amazing if this turned into the Matt Flynn, except it wasn't just a game and he didn't leave the team.
Yeah.
He did great, got a huge contract, and then sucked. Just sucked it up.
Was this the contract that Matt Flynn tweeted about? I think it was. This one where he was like, wow.
Yeah.
All that's a little much. And that was coming from Matt Flynn.
Because Matt Flynn got overpaid after he had that game.
By Seattle. Seattle overpaid him.
Yeah.
Then he
was
lost
it Seattle or was it the Raiders?
It was Seattle. He lost the job to Russell
right.
Wilson. Then he went to Oakland and lost it to Terrell Pryor, basically. Or I think it was actually Derek Carr. It might have been Derek Carr. I don't really know who he lost the job to in Oakland. I don't remember. But yeah, it just didn't work out.
No, it's the franchise tag. $19 million franchise tag.
Okay.
That's what he's got this year.
Still a lot of money. Maybe that's not who Matt Flynn was laughing at in that case.
No.
About that contract.
But still, $19 million for Kirk Cousins. Fucking insane.
Yeah.
What was it? He was making
at least it's only 1 year, though.
They said what on ESPN? He was this salary was like more than 300%.
He was making minimum wage last year. Minimum wage.
He was
guys.
making like
$8.25 an hour.
He was making like third stringer money last year.
Well, basically, I mean, he essentially was. He was pretty.
When you're a starting quarterback and you're making sub $1 million, get out of town, brah.
Yeah.
You must not be that good. But now he's making $19 million. At the end of the year, here's the last question I'll leave you on the podcast. Last thing I will leave you with, RG3 at the end of the season. Do we forget this story or does it sit with him the whole year?
No, I think we're going to forget this story. I think the reason we're going to forget it is because he just had a bad year. And it's going to be, all right, well, it's time for Cleveland to move on again.
Well, that's going to do it for the Onside Kick this week. Got a little bit of house cleaning for you guys. Some videos you got to go check out. Go check out our Way Too Early mock draft. And for you football/NFL guys, go check out Sean's mock draft on the NBA side. Also, check out our interview with Melissa from shoein.com. One of our sponsors for one of our videos did a little interview to let you guys know exactly what Shoein is. It's a great app. Go check that out. It's on our YouTube channel. I want to thank everyone for listening. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Ricky Widmer. Mark is at the with 2 E's. Mark Weber, dub them E's. And at Most Valuable Pod is at Most Valuable Podcast, or you know what I mean. At Most Valuable Pod is the Twitter handle and the Snapchat handle. Go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that heart and repost on SoundCloud. If you want to give that little extra support, hit up our Patreon page, patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. Last time, I'll thank you for listening to this podcast today. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.